right, dramatic music for the start of this live. We're going to be talking about some Epstein and taking a lot of guests. Welcome, Bryn. Remember you from yesterday. Captain Insano, welcome as we're just getting started. We got some very dramatic tunes for the opening as we're inviting everybody in. Hopefully we'll have a lively discussion about all the recent updates on the Epstein files. And as I lower this, now you guys can probably hear me better. Let me know if that's the right balance. Welcome again, Mr. Global. So I'm not going to be bashful about shilling my own plan and letting you know that this channel is probably different than most every other channel that you watch, and that it's more about unity and about going after the corruption, eliminating the corruption from all the special interest corporations and billionaires. This is not versus red versus blue. This is not about talking about problems. This is actually about solving problems and bringing regular American citizens together, whether you're MAGA or liberal. I don't care. I only care about seeing if we can fix our political system and getting to the root cause of every single problem. And that includes what's happening right here with the Epstein files, right? I've recently learned from a lot of MAGA people why this is such a big issue for a lot of you. And let me know if you guys can hear me well or if the music's too loud. But this is really big issue to a lot of people in MAGA world, and I didn't realize it until about a month or two ago, like why, the true reason why. And obviously it has a lot to do with the infiltration of foreign agents, or at least that's the theory, and that's the rumor, and that's the belief by a lot of people on MAGA. So I want to know how far will this cover up go? Will it continue to go as deep? And will there ever be a resolution? So as more and more people join, cool, please remember to follow and like, and let's have a lively discussion, but let's keep it civil. This is, again, not about red versus blue. This is about all of us versus the powers at the top that are not only covering up a lot of things that are happening that we all want to know about, but it goes much deeper. All the special interests and all the corporations and billionaires who are getting us to fight. What do you call the opposite of MAGA? Slick Mix 777. I don't know. You tell me. What is the opposite of MAGA? So Trump is not a fascist. Mark, what is he then? Is he a dictator? He said he wanted to be a dictator, right? So if he's not a fascist, is he a dictator? Is he an authoritarian? Is he going in that direction? Remember, Adolf Hitler wasn't considered a fascist either until like 1935. So, where are we going with this, right? Do you know why he isn't? I don't know. Tell me why he isn't, Mark. I'd like to know. As we get more people. All right, we got a good audience in here now. So let's get started on this and talk about this issue a little bit so we know that Speaker Johnson today said, so if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that Speaker Johnson said he'd swear in the new House Democrat as soon as she wants. But now Republicans are backtracking. That's just happened this evening. Now they're not letting it. And the funny thing is, he says it's not about the Epstein files, but he doesn't say what it's about. There's no other reason. Like, this supposed Democrat is going to vote with the Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others to release the Epstein files. And we all know this is why it's being held up, but he doesn't give any other reason other than that. So that's happening. And also, Mike Johnson ducked Epstein's file questions today, refused to swear in this Democratic elected official. And yesterday, if you noticed, that Trump said he will take a look and talk to the DOJ, Pam Bondi, about pardoning convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. And that was interesting. Well, I'm going to play that. It was right here. You guys can hear it in the background.
Yeah, the president's term today, Mr. President.
Say it.
The Supreme Court is back and said that they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're...
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who've asked me for pardons.
Now, doesn't that get MAGA people a little bit pissed off? I want to know, like, earnestly, doesn't get MAGA people pissed off that he's actually saying he's considering, or he'll talk to the DOJ about pardoning her? Because we all know what the pardon will mean, right? It'll basically buy her silence. So interesting take. And of course, they're not swearing them in. So interesting take on from Trump, and he's acting like he doesn't know who she is and he hasn't heard her name in so long. But if you're new to this channel, of course, I'm all about trying to bring the divide between blue and red, left versus right, and realize we're all being gaslighted by all this type of stuff, and we're gaslighting each other. But when it comes to this issue, so in case you don't know, because I didn't know not too long ago, but this issue, so I'm going to tread carefully a little bit here, so bear with me. Now, I always wanted to know, why does MAGA care so much about this Epstein list? And I wasn't quite sure. Is it just because maybe that these other people, and Trump wasn't on the Epstein list, and it was just people like Bill Gates and Bill Clinton and just Democrats? That's what I always thought it was. But I thought there had to be more to it, because how can anyone think that Trump wasn't on this list when he was considered, you know, Epstein's best friend? If these guys even have friends, they don't really have friends the way normal people like us have friendships. These aren't friendships. These are business deals or relationship dealings. And he signed his birthday card. That's pretty obvious, and many other things. So I never understood, like, of course this guy's on it, right? So are so many other people. But we knew it went deeper. Well, I didn't know it went deeper, but I've spoken to a lot of people on MAGA, and they believe it goes deeper, and it comes back to a certain country, and it starts with an I. I'm not going to use certain words today, but their CIA version of this country in APAC having influence and basically setting up all these billionaires and all these politicians by paying for Epstein. So let me put this conspiracy together, because I'm not into conspiracies generally, but where there's smoke, there's fire. This one seems to make a lot of sense. So first of all, Maxwell, because I don't know how to pronounce her name well, Ghislaine Maxwell, she was obviously the right-hand person for Epstein. Everybody knows that. Of course, she set up all these encounters and all these things for people. Her father was a shady UK businessman from England. He died under mysterious circumstances in 1998, falling off his boat and drowning. Now, he was shady because he had deep ties to Israel, and he actually facilitated arms deals and other things. He was not a good person, and it was always suspected that he was compromised by their intelligence agency, right? So it starts with an M. And the thing about that is, so if he was compromised to the father, it's not a stretch to think that it was possible that Ghislaine Maxwell was also compromised and possibly even an agent. And people in the comments are mentioning it. So for those of you that don't know, so if her father was associated deeply with Israel, and he was a huge advocate for Israel, and again, like I said, a lot of shady business dealings, possibly even an agent. But that was never proven, and there's no evidence that he was actually an agent. But that's not unusual. Of course, the M is very secretive. Now, if he was compromised, would his daughter potentially be compromised eventually? Certainly plausible, right? So it's not a stretch. Now, that's the relationship between her and Epstein. If this country was paying to have this private island and paying for the plane and paying for everything, and Epstein was being used to facilitate to get dirt on people. So how would you want to get dirt on people? Well, you would have them come down to the island. You would put cameras on that island. You would put underage girls, make underage girls available, and you would film that. Now you have the opportunity to have, not the opportunity, now you have leverage over all those people. So again, some people might say this is big conspiracy. Again, I'm not into conspiracies generally, but like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire. And this seems to be, and people who can join me, if you want to join and tell me otherwise, join me in the box. You can join as a guest, and you can tell me if you think I'm right or you think I'm wrong, because most of what I'm telling you is not what I have figured out. This is coming from those in MAGA directly. Those people that follow Charlie Kirk and other people. I've heard a lot of guests talk about this issue going this deep. So this is not my conspiracy. This seems to have fire, and it certainly seems to be in the belief of a lot of people in MAGA. And that seems to be why so many people are interested in this list, because it goes deeper and it's sort of anti-Israel. So again, if you want to jump in the box and tell me whether you think that's right or not, let me know. I am always welcome on this subject. This is not a typical subject I cover, but it is an interesting topic, something that I've learned a lot more about recently, because I'm more interested in eliminating corruption from our government, but it ties right in, right? These dots are connected, because this corruption by foreign agents is just one of the special interests, just like corporate special interests, foreign agents, the billionaires, and others, the Christian nationals, and many other groups that are taking over our government or positioning themselves to take over government in various ways and take away our democracy completely. We already know that basically we have a corporatocracy and we don't have a democracy. But these foreign agents, corporate monarchs, and what's the other one? The Christian nationals, excuse me. These are the things that are all people trying to take away our democracy. And that's all part of the corruption. And that's why I'm covering this here, because it's all part of people in power, foreign agents, corporate monarchs, Christian nationals, and many others seeking to leverage our government for their own interests and not our interests. So who wants to jump in the box? Let me know if you think if I'm right, or if I have the story right, that many MAGA, this is why MAGA and Trump have this disconnect here, because they want to know, and Trump promised back in the spring that he would release the Epstein files. But now he's not. He gets very angry when he's confronted with the Epstein files. He obviously is directing his DOJ and FBI not to release the files. And Congress is not bringing in an elected official so that they can make the deciding vote to release the Epstein files. So there's a lot of shady shit that's happening. It's clearly a cover-up, and it's clearly goes really deep, or everything points to it going really deep. And until you have the facts, and I think that's what MAGA wants, they want the facts of this list to know who's on it. I mean, there's going to be hundreds of people on it, most likely, right? And I think their list has already been made public in the past. Someone mentioned that it's actually out there floating around the internet. I don't know if it's been validated or not, but it's clearly out there. So we have our first guest, the voice of something. I can't read the full username. Let me know if you think I'm right. And I really want to know, will MAGA accept if there's no transparency? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right, so it looks like I just lost connection. Wow. I lost connection on TikTok. So if there's anyone on YouTube watching, my TikTok stream went down because of community guidelines. So I think I said too much and I lost access, which is really interesting. That hasn't happened to me before. Hopefully it will come up and we'll see what happens in the future. Dang, that is really interesting. Streamed on 10/7 and I've lost access for a week. All right, so there's clearly a misinformation war going on. So if you're watching, interesting. Let's see where I am on YouTube. Wow, is anyone on YouTube? Looks like so. I violated guidelines according to TikTok, and I am off. So you can see the algorithms in action as I'll be restored, including multi-guest. Your access to live will be restored. Anyway, so those of you on YouTube, if there is anybody here, so here's the information, of course, that I'm going over. Trump says he'll take a look into pardoning Maxwell. And then you have Mike Johnson ducking the Epstein questions.
Middle of a fire. Many Democrats are convinced that Republicans are now using the government shutdown to stave off further scrutiny of President Trump's relationship with the late pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Now, House Speaker Mike Johnson is pushing back against that connection.
Democratic congresswoman from Arizona who would be a critical vote to releasing the Epstein files. How do you respond?
It's totally absurd.
Charge?
This has nothing to do with that. It's another red herring.
He later took to MSNBC to double down.
I'm for maximum disclosure. I want every page of this out. Donald Trump's not implicated in this. If he was, you'd have known about it a long time ago. He wants to protect the innocent victims. He and I talked about this. He's very passionate about that. But he's for maximum disclosure, and his DOJ has shown that.
Now, Robbie's favorite person, Thomas Massey, was not buying that story. He posted on X, quote, contrary to what Speaker Johnson is doing, or what he says, Speaker Johnson is doing everything he can, including delaying the swearing in of the most recently elected member of Congress and spreading misinformation about the legislation to block a vote in Congress on legislation to release the Epstein files. Now, what's Massey talking about? He's talking about Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva, who won a special election in Arizona to fill her late father's seat. A plaque with her name already hangs on her door, but Republicans are refusing to let her take oath. Why? Because her vote could be the one that tips the scale. Now, Grijalva has promised to back a bipartisan petition that would force a vote to release the Justice Department's Epstein files, the documents that might finally reveal who knew what about when about one of the most powerful predators in modern history. Democrats say Johnson is keeping her sidelined to stall that vote. His office insists it's, quote, standard practice, but that excuse doesn't hold water. He's sworn in 2 Republicans this year when the House wasn't even in session. So let's call it what it is, a stall tactic with a side of smoke and mirrors. Behind the scenes, the White House and Republican leaders are reportedly pressuring 3 GOP women, Representatives Lauren Boebert, Nancy Mace, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, to withdraw their signatures from the discharge petition. But for now, those women aren't budging. As Senator Chuck Schumer put it, quote, House Republicans care more about protecting the Epstein files than protecting the American people. Here's the thing. Secrecy has a shelf life. Every time leaders try to dodge transparency, public trust burns a little bit slower, but it still burns. If the Epstein files are really nothing more than a, quote, red herring, then prove it. Release the files, all of them, the Treasury files, everything. Because when people in power hide behind process and timing, it only confirms what we already suspect, that where there's smoke, there's fire. And this one isn't going out anytime soon. Sorry, Robbie.
All right. So anybody watching on YouTube, dang. Oh, yo. All right. So I don't think there's many people here because I don't have many followers, but Mr. Global, welcome. So you saw that, and I'm on YouTube, of course, still, because I'm still in shock. I wish I had more people on YouTube because I am completely in shock that maybe, I don't know what I said that went too far because I've said similar things in the past, but maybe the algorithm sees too much that's happening, or, you know, I was very clear that it was a conspiracy, that I was talking about a conspiracy. So nonetheless, so I hope there's a couple people on YouTube, as I'm still in shock from being taken down and suppressed on the talk. But here I am nonetheless on YouTube, and I'll probably stay here for a minute or two and talk about, you know, some of the other things. So Mr. Global, thanks for finding me here. I really appreciate it. So I am now offline until someone spammed. So I think interesting. So I think someone spam reported you, and his name was Greg in the chat. Well, I don't know if they would take you down from one spam person, or yeah, I guess they could report violence or report misinformation, but would they take you down for that reason? Really interesting. Well, nonetheless, I guess I'm here on YouTube nonetheless. Not that that matters, but it's going to give me an opportunity to do some more videos this week. I can play this clip here
In
regarding.
February, you made a public claim that the Epstein client list was, quote, sitting on my desk right now for review, end of quote. You then produced already public information and no client list at a major media event hosted at the White House. Attorney General Bondi, why did you publicly claim to have the Epstein client list waiting for your review and then produce nothing relevant to that claim?
Senator Durbin, if you listen to my entire clip on that, I said I had not reviewed it yet, that it was sitting on my desk along with the JFK files, the Martin Luther King files, and I said I had not yet reviewed it. And if you see our memo on Epstein, you will see, excuse me, our memo on Epstein clearly points out that there was no client list, our July 6th memo. You also didn't let me respond to the HIDA question. The budget transfers
How dishonest can someone be that not get more dishonest than what that is? And then, of course, you had Trump and then Mike Johnson doing this. Anyhow, well, you can DM me on either the Tube or the Talk and let me know in the chats. I guess I'm going to kill this one as well. It's going to give me some more time. So now that I got temporarily restricted on the Talk, I'm going to do some more videos for Talk. I don't think I'm restricted there. And I'm also going to spend more time building up the audience on YouTube because that's really ultimately, that's going to be the more important place in the future. So again, I'm still in shock that that happened, that this live is 22 minutes long. If anyone is watching, which I know I have very few followers here on YouTube, and that's a shame, but maybe we'll change that. Maybe I'll do a lot of videos this week on YouTube in order to grow the following up to 1,000. That way the live streams can get more exposure on YouTube as well. So with that said, I'm going to leave some maybe the music is what did it. Actually, it's not the music. This is royalty-free music. But I'm getting a lot of requests on TikTok. Yep, and I'm getting more people on DMs. More people on DMs talking to me about how I was taken offline. Yeah. Oh well, such is life, and we're living in the world of free speech cannot be broadcast, especially if it's not what they like you to be talking about. They. I don't like to use the word they, but there's clearly a they, whether it's the people controlling the algorithm or something else. But I wonder what YouTube will do now that this video will be posted. I wonder if they do anything on this side of YouTube. So with a nice comparison between YouTube and Talk to see what happens on how they handle these subjects and constraining free speech or the ability to, broadcast free speech. I didn't think I did anything wrong either. So I wonder if it's been reported or it was just the subject matter. We know that Oracle is supposedly taking over the algorithm. Maybe they have control of it already. It certainly seems like they do from just my opinion. But like I said, still in shock. Don't know how to process it. You don't think YouTube usually does? Okay, that's good to know. I'm going to make a lot of videos this week. I hope to have time to make some videos on YouTube. I really need to build up my audience on YouTube to get more than 1,000 followers, subscribers, so that I can broadcast live and get more exposure, because until you get 1,000, you can't, they won't promote your live videos beyond that. So I've done it once in the past with another channel, have some experience there. So we'll see what happens with YouTube. And maybe this will have to put a positive spin on it, right? You got to try and put a positive spin on all this activity. Maybe this is a topic that I'm going to have to be really cautious and stay away from this topic, because I don't know how it happens on YouTube, on Talk. If you do multiple violations of their community guidelines, do you get your account banned entirely? Because right now I am offline on Talk until the 14th. So, well, thanks for letting me know. Thanks for communicating me with here. Mr. Global. And for anyone else that's watching, I'll be back here on YouTube posting more videos and posting more videos on Talk and staying away from this subject maybe, unfortunately, because it's such a, 75 million people at least really want to know about this subject, but apparently you can't talk about it. So cheers. And I'll have to figure out something else to do in the meantime. See y'all.